My name is Emma. I'm from Michigan, but I currently go to Florida State University. Um, right now, I am interning in the governor's office for. I work in the state capitol. There's my little badgy thing. um, Along with that, when I was working on the campaign for our governor currently, I started doing mock trial and competing. I didn't really know what it was about or what mock trial entailed, but it was so fun and so competitive. And along with learning about the acting side of law, I really got to learn a lot about case law and rules of evidence, and it got me so interested and so passionate in law. I knew that whether or not I was going to be representing people in the law or just creating the laws, I know that politics and law is where I want to be. And your master class would help me so much with my LSAT score. It would be an honor to be able to get a scholarship for it. I read your emails all the time, and I've just started studying, and any sort of help to get me to Georgetown would be amazing. So I hope you consider me, and have a good day.
Hey, what's up, Steve? My name is Olivia Mello, and this is why I want to go to law school. So, I'm a first generation college student, so I know the importance and the power of receiving an education. I love learning, and I really have always loved learning ever since I was little. My teachers would always try to get me to go outside, it's time to go play at recess. You can't be in here any longer. Stop reading your book, Olivia. But really, nothing has really changed since, except people can't tell me what to do now. Um, but as much as I love learning, I love putting that knowledge into action even more. And I'm able to do this through service opportunities. And, I recently started a mentoring program here at Chapman University, which pairs our students with high school students and eighth grade students who are aspiring to be the first in their family to go to college. And like you, Steve, I really believe in the importance of empowering students to affirm confidence in their abilities to set goals for the future and create plans to achieve them. In the future, I really hope to expand my mentoring program, but most of all, pursue work in public interest as an attorney. Um, as someone who is privileged enough to be a part of the educated community, I believe that it's my responsibility to help create a country of equal opportunity. You were talking about that in your email, like how that is, so unattainable for some people, but I really appreciate you putting in that extra effort to help even out the playing field a little bit. But most of all, I also really do believe in helping create a country of equal advocacy as well. And being able to get help from you would allow me to pursue these dreams with confidence. And, as you know, the LSAT's a major component of the law school application. And frankly, I need all the help I can get because I do this all day. And, it's obviously going to be nothing like law school. But as far as LSAT goes, it is training a skill, and that's something I do know how to do. And I'm very hardworking. So I just want to take this time to thank you for offering this, even if it's not me and someone else, but I do appreciate your time and your consideration. Thanks.
Hey, Steve. Love your emails, follow your podcast all the time. I just try to get as much knowledge about LSAT as humanly possible, and you've had some great tidbits. As a matter of fact, this has become my Bible ever since you've talked about it on your podcast with Ellen, and I love the book, and I love everything about that she did. I mean, I've been doing an LSAT prep course, LSAT Max, been doing this for almost a year now. Preparing myself for the LSAT, trying to get the score higher and higher. And this book here was phenomenal. The way I described it to my wife was the LSAT course that we did on the iPad was like dumping a whole bunch of concrete into a foundation, and it's just sitting there. And then Ellen's book did a great job just smoothing everything over and helping me out. And I've seen my logical reasoning scores just improve immensely. Currently, a little bit about myself. My name's Sam Clark. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I am currently an educator in Texas, and I've been in education for 9 years. When I got done with college, I didn't know really what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, so I decided to serve. And I felt like the best way I could give back was teaching. Teaching was a phenomenal way of giving back. It was a great way of turning around and giving back to something that gave me so much, including coaching. I also coached football for a little while here in Texas because I played football throughout high school and college, and it got me a scholarship. So I really wanted to give back to kids. The longer I've been in this profession, though, the more and more I know it needs to change. And that's what I plan to do with my education and my law degree, if I have the opportunity, is to go forth and really help teachers and change the institution for the better. A lot of teachers need help, and it's not just always legal help, but districts need legal help. Currently, my district is a very large district. They serve over 60,000 students, and they only have 3 lawyers on staff for 60,000 students. And it's one of those things where I want to help teachers, I want to help the institution, because I believe in education. I believe education is one of the best tools any kid can have and can help them get anywhere they want to go. So being a teacher, money's been limited, and I just do my best to find good LSAT stuff, and I'm so grateful for your website, your blog, and all of your podcasts. Your podcasts are phenomenal. I listen to them all the day, including LSAT Pros, and then little books like Ellen's that have just been super beneficial. So if I have an opportunity to get the scholarship, awesome. If not, if anything, this video is just a thank you for everything you do, because for people like me who can't afford one-on-one tutorials for the LSAT, it really does help getting those tidbits and that information. So I appreciate, Steve, everything you do. Hope you have a great day, Steve. Appreciate everything.
Hi Steve, my name is Chanel Sims. I'm 23 years old and I live in New York City. Currently, I work as a paralegal to the Brooklyn DA's office, working in their sealing unit. Here is a copy of my ID. What I do now is I help seal prior convictions of defendants who fit the criteria for the statute, under the statute 16059, which was just passed in New York City. I currently want to go to law school now to continue the work that I do for public interest. I feel like public interest is where my passion lies. I feel like making a difference in my community is extremely important, not only for my career, but for my life goals, I guess. I've always felt the need to be a voice. You know, growing up, I used to get bullied a lot. So I would always use my voice to kind of just like protect myself. So I'd like to use my voice now to protect my community and their interests. So yeah, I hope I win this scholarship. I'm currently using your 4-month LSAT study schedule, and it's helped me tremendously. So thank you for that. And thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for listening to my video.
Hello, my name is Leslie, and I want to go to law school because I need to finish what I started. I went to law school back in 2006, and I even remember then it was a struggle for me for the LSAT. Paid for a big name course, and long story short, it didn't live up to its guarantees, so I ended up through the prep getting a score that didn't allow me to go to the school of my choice. I ended up going to an alternative school, struggled my first year due to helping as a caregiver for my mother who was dealing with a serious illness at the time. My grades slipped, and I ended up getting academically dismissed. And at the time, LSAT, had a ban. You had to wait 2 years if you had a dismissal. And during that time period, I worked on and off jobs in the legal industry, legal support industry. And I've often fought with the idea of going back. I questioned whether it was for me, whether I could do it due to what I dealt with having to leave law school. But I have a strong urge to finish what I started, and it's something that I haven't been able to quite shake. And I've had at least a decade to think about it, and it's something I really want to pursue and really want to get back to. I really want to be a lawyer, and I really have some goals to work in the legal industry, work as a lawyer. I have an interest in business transactions, entertainment law, intellectual property, and I'd like to see that come to pass. And it's important for me to get back on the road and finish what I started. And I would so appreciate winning one of the scholarships that you have to give. And I thank you for this opportunity.
Hi, Steve. My name is Dylan Tully from San Diego, California, and I want to go to law school so that I can learn, understand, practice, and communicate in the language of law. What I want to do ultimately is I want to run for an elected office. I want to become an elected official, and I want to use the language of law to bring people together in a time when it seems like people are being pulled further and further apart. To give you an example of what I mean, I went to school at San Diego State University where I studied international business and Spanish. And after becoming fluent in Spanish, I learned the power of being bilingual, of speaking more than one language. By being fluent in Spanish, I have seen a world of possibility where I can communicate with somebody who may not speak my language, but I speak theirs, and I can use that communication to build relationships, to solve problems, and to ultimately resolve conflict. On the same note, I look around at our current world and I see all the conflict, and I see all of the problems that we have, and how much of it is caused by miscommunication or lack of communication altogether. So what I want to do is go to law school. I think that law ultimately is a language. It's a complex series of rules, procedures, and ideas that ultimately govern our world. And I want to use a background in that language to find myself in a position of power where I can create positive change. Maybe in my community, as small as my neighborhood, maybe even on a national level. But I know that law school is the best way for me to pursue that goal. I know that to reach the dream that I have for myself and reach the vision that I have for this world, I need to learn that language, and I need to get that background so that I can have the tools I need to make those positive changes. So although that's an ethereal goal, it is ultimately why I want to go to law school. I want to reach my full potential, and I want to use the best of my natural abilities to make the world just a little bit better in some way, hopefully. So yeah, that's why. Thank you for your time, and yeah, thank you.
Hi, Steve. First, thank you for this opportunity to apply for a scholarship. My name is Luke, and I'm reaching out to you from Chicago, Illinois. And my aspiration is to pursue a dual degree program in law and divinity. And this aspiration stems from my desire to serve and accompany folks on the margins, or people who otherwise might not have the access to a lawyer. And I believe it would be a real privilege to represent and to serve someone in a very critical moment of their life. I graduated in college in 2016, very much inspired by the lions of the civil rights movements unfolding across this country in the 1960s. A particular Cesar Chavez quote really continues to ring true, but especially at that time upon graduation, of the end of all education should surely be service to others. And I brought that ethos into my first year out of college as I was a Jesuit volunteer and served in Kansas City, Missouri, working for a small nonprofit that accompanies and empowers mostly Mexican migrant farm working families in rural western Missouri. It was a real privilege to have that opportunity, and I stayed with the organization for 2 years, leading a youth empowerment group for migrant farm working teenagers. And very broadly, it was an experience that really transformed my outlook and perspective around social injustice, and also birthed in me a growing interest in thinking further about law school. And so last year, I moved back to Chicago, the city that I'm from, and started up work as a paralegal at Legal Assistance Foundation, which is another organization that assists people who otherwise might not have access to a lawyer or an advocate. And I continue to work at Legal Assistance Foundation's Migrant Project. And learning more about some of the laws and protections that are afforded to workers, or really, and sadly, the lack thereof. But I believe that I would bring these experiences into a law school setting with the ultimate goal of graduating and pursuing public interest work and continuing to be an advocate on behalf of those who otherwise might not have the access to legal services. So thanks so much for considering my application for a scholarship.
Hey Steve, my name's Melissa. I work in local government here in New York. I've been doing that for a few years now, along with the work that I've done in nonprofits. That's a space that I've worked in since about 2012, not counting college and internships and stuff like that. I've spent my entire career in public service. I've worked with elected officials to get laws passed that help people, and I've also worked at charities and nonprofit agencies advocating for folks who need it. I spent a few years recently working with homeless moms and kids, learned a lot about the struggles, the challenges that they face. It's part of what's inspired me to pursue a career in law, try and advocate for folks who are sometimes forgotten by society, try and build up a legal system and public structures that can benefit people who most need it, like moms and kids out there just trying to get by. I graduated from college in 2011, was the first woman in my family to do so. That was the same year that I lost my parents, and I've been working full-time ever since to support myself. Last year, I signed up for a private LSAT course and spent a lot of money on it and just didn't get the results that I probably should have. I wasn't able to achieve those results for a host of reasons. I'm back on the LSAT bandwagon, studying to take the test again. Would love to be a part of your course as I prepare to retake the exam and to hopefully apply in the near future. Upon graduation, hoping to stay in public interest, again, where I've worked for years, helping to advocate for folks who I think need it the most. Thanks for taking the time to listen to my video. Hope that we can work together.
Hi Steve, my name is Ariel. I'm a current 4th year in college studying economics and linguistics. My dad is actually a lawyer, and I always grew up saying like, oh, I'm never going to go to law school. I'm never going to do that. I just kind of saw it as this like always going to court and fighting people, and I don't really think of myself as confrontational or argumentative. But after I started studying linguistics, my perspective on just what the law is and like what it means to study and practice the law really shifted. So I guess it was when I started learning about these concepts, these things called performatives or speech acts, which are like language, like statements that by virtue of being said or written actually change the world in some way. Like they have an effect. Like when you say like I do and you're at the altar, like you haven't just said that, like after that you are married, like your status has changed. Or like when you say like I promise, you haven't just said some words, like a promise has been made. Like there is something different before and after you say that. That's not just communication. And so that concept just like really captivated me, and I started thinking like, what is the law if not a version of that, taken to the extreme and codified and like implemented everywhere. And I just got really interested in what it would mean to study the law and get into the interpretations of these like words, these powerful words, and like the repercussions they have. And in law school, I think is where I can just immerse myself in that world and figure out what kind of law I want to practice too, because that's obviously something that I'm, very curious about, all the different branches and like how they all function and what the different, statutes and precedents and like how that all kind of interacts and has an effect, a very real effect on me, on you, on anyone who has, living in a society with law. So that's why I want to go to law school. I want to get more into this concept that's really just kind of captivated my imagination since I first learned about it.
Hi, I'm Oksana, and this video is for Steve. I would like to explain why actually I would like to apply for scholarship for masterclass, and why I decided to take LSAT while I'm not traditional applicant. I'm an older applicant, and I'm a foreigner. So I would like to explain my reasons and how actually I found this website, how I found Steve. So I'm coming from France, and English is not my first language, and I learned it in school, but however, it's not my first language, while LSAT is difficult for everybody in America, and people who are born with English, I was not. So for me, it's twice double difficult than for them. Also, some things like logical reasoning I did in school, and since a little while I did not make it. So I had to start everything from scratch, and while it's challenging and interesting, it is still a big challenge for me. So what I actually like in LSAT, I like the challenge in everything, but in particular like logic games, they're fun, and they're also many different types, which is amusing and at the same time make you think, and it seems like I'm learning something new with each type of logic games, while logical reading comprehension make me sleep. So there is a problem. I would like to learn how to read comprehensively and in the meantime effectively. I would like to spend my time concentrating on what I'm reading, because sometimes those texts are so boring and so long, and sometimes I don't understand in the beginning what they're talking about, so I have to read it twice. So I have this challenge with reading comprehension. With logical reasoning, my difficulty, of course, is to concentrate on one answer, because there are several answers, like for many people, and also for students of Steve, I think there are several challenges for them. They said that they choose in general two answers. That's what I'm doing too. I have this problem, and often the second answer is actually wrong. The one I'm choosing is the wrong answer, not the right. And then I said, how it can happen? How I can go back and select the right answer while I'm selecting constantly the wrong answer when I'm in between the two? So I would like to understand this difference, to perceive why I'm constantly selecting one of them two, and the one I'm selecting is often not the right one. So it depends, of course, on the, I think LSAT is not just to find a right answer, it's much more than that. And I think the concentration, self-balance, self-wellness, and everything which is outside this examination is so much important to achieve the score you want. And I would like to learn how to do this. I think that Steve is a perfect professor to learn with him, because I assisted to many of his free classes until now, and also prep for law school, not only prep for LSAT, but what you can do with the LSAT after, what I find very important, and which I didn't find elsewhere before that. So how I found Steve? Just online, just searched for something new, and he had these prep plans. I found it interesting, and this is something which I never saw before with someone else. So I would like, of course, to apply this prep plan for myself. I'm currently a PhD student in conflict resolution, so conflict resolution is something very close to law school, and there are many things in common in law school. I'm also fascinated with conflict resolution, like dispute resolution is one of the key in law school, and they are concentrated on that. It's something recent and which is developing area in science and is also effective. So how I decided to go to law school, because I think that justice, I still, I still believe in justice, and I think that justice is very important, and believe in justice is even more important than the justice in itself. So once I will stop to believe in it, I will die. And yes, and I think that common law, because I'm coming from France and we have a civil law, is definitely not that much exciting and interesting like common law, because common law is exactly what I like. It's an interesting area, and it's an interesting area to practice compared to civil law. Of course, I've never been in law school in my country, but I had to go for small claims in court, and I had attorneys whom I worked with, and sometimes it was a disaster. So I said to myself that if I can do this, maybe I can apply some special skills. And also, like, human factor skills are important, not just money for money. No, communication is a key for everything. That's what I think, that's what I believe in. And I think that once we understand the person we're working with, and we understand the client, right, and we know what they want, then we can apply our skills and everything what we learned until now. And the law and legal advice can be given only once you understand what they need. So I think that at my stage, at my age, at this stage of my life, I'm ready to do this. I really think that I understand people, and I like people, I like to help, and I would like to help. So law school is expensive, and particularly for out-of-state students like me, it is much more expensive, and scholarships are few. So I would like to get this opportunity for this class, for example, to be a foreign student of Steve and try to improve my level, because I started with low 140s, of course, in the beginning, because for me logic games were something which oh my god, what is this, where am I? And now I'm much better in logic games, but I switch from nice reading comprehension understanding towards something which makes me sleep. So I would like to achieve to a different level. I'm in my mid and high 50s, 150, and I would like to get like to 165. I understand that I will not get until 170, but my goal score is 165. And I'm not stupid. I have a GPA of 4. My bachelor degree was like summa cum laude. So I don't think that I have a problem with the intellectual achievement, but it's just trouble also to concentrate. And I have this issue with the timing. Like, timing is pressing me so much. So I'm thinking my first session in general, I'm failing it because I'm so much inside of timing. I'm thinking, oh my God, I have only 35 minutes. I have 1 minute and a half for each question. So in the beginning, it's like so bad food. And then I'm getting better and better. I'm more concentrated, more relaxed. I would like also to learn, if it's possible, with Steve, how to manage my anxiety and my how to actually to work on my preparation outside of LSAT, but just overall. How can I come to the room to pass my examination without thinking about it? How can I work on myself, on my skills, on my on my stress level? How can I manage this? How can I manage my own body to think, to concentrate on something which is very important to pass my test, instead of thinking of timing or thinking about that someone is moving around me, there is a noise, there is a time, and I'm out of time? How can I concentrate with the time I have on the things which are most important? And I think that Steve, he had this capacity to explain. Actually, when I'm listening to him, I understand what he's saying. And I also assisted before to different other classes, like Kaplan class. I took some, some of their free classes, and it was different. It was much more different at the point that they try to attract as much as possible audience, and then it's like a mass class.
Hi there, my name is Gabby. I am currently a senior at Hunter College in New York City. I am an English major. Ever since I could remember, I would read every single book I could get my hands on, not just books. It could be a receipt, it would be a shampoo bottle. If there were words on it, I was reading it top to bottom. I definitely loved learning every single subject that I am interested in. I kind of just go down this hole of discovery. I like to research, and I ultimately want to use my love of knowledge to help people in creative and logical ways. I think that law school could really help me. And it's funny because I didn't know that you didn't have to be a political science major or something law related to take the LSAT. My friend went to law school at Columbia. She told me, I was like, wait, you're not a political science major? She was like, no, I'm not. And that just like clicked like a light bulb in my head. I started researching, and now I'm signed up to take the test in July. And I'm so excited, and I really, really think that your program could help me do it. So thank you for the opportunity.
Hi Steve, my name is Brett. I'm from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and I wanted to take the next few minutes to talk about a second chance and how that second chance has influenced who I am as a person and my decision to want to go to law school. So I was 15 and probably hanging out with the wrong crowd, and I got myself into some trouble. And the only person that could help me get out of this trouble was a lawyer. So, scared, overwhelmed, but determined, my parents and I, we hired a lawyer, and this lawyer advocated for me and really helped me find that second opportunity to turn things around. But somewhere along the way, I fell in love with the law. Just the process, the formality of things, sitting down with my lawyer, discussing strategy, showing up for court appearances, just the respect of the court. It really opened my eyes, and it changed who I am. I found myself on the road to Damascus. I changed schools, I changed friends, I changed my whole way of life. And for me, I started to really conceptualize myself as a lawyer. Maybe this is something I could do. Maybe this is my future. But it took a lot of hard work for me to get anywhere close to being ready to go to law school. I went back to school as a mature student. I've taken a course on alternative dispute resolution. I've become a mediator. I've really done a lot of work on who I am, understanding who I am, and trying to understand why law is important to me. And part and parcel to that, I've developed a strong passion for social justice. I've been volunteering and working with some great organizations such as the Good Shepherd, which helps people get through the effects of homelessness, and the Hamilton Community Legal Clinic, which allows me to help low-income residents access the law in Canada. And for us, this is really important, especially as we see cuts to legal aid and cuts to social assistance. I find that my job is ever more important. And it's all because I got that second chance. And now, with that second chance, I'm looking to move forward. I'm looking to conquer the LSAT, and I'm looking to go to a top law school. Because when I get out, my goal is to advocate for people, to be that voice that allows someone like me to receive that second chance. Because I'm telling you, after that second chance, there's no stopping me. I know what I want to do. I know how I'm going to do it. And I'm hoping that you will be a part of that journey and part of that adventure and help me with this LSAT. And I really appreciate the opportunity, and I wish you all the best in selecting someone for this great chance. Thanks.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.